Some of the most dangerous magic users in comics are not the names everyone already knows. They are cursed teenagers, demon hunters, forgotten sorcerers, and heroes carrying powers they can barely control. And some of them are strong enough to stand beside the biggest mystic legends in Marvel and DC. If you're into comics and nerd content like this, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Magik started as Illyana Rasputin, Colossus's little sister, but her life quickly turned into one of the darkest stories in the X-Men world. When Belasco dragged her into Limbo, only a short time passed on Earth, but Illyana lived through years in that hellish dimension. She was forced to grow up around demons, learned sorcery from strange versions of Storm and Kitty Pryde, and came back older, colder, and changed forever. That is what makes her so interesting. Her power does not feel clean or easy. Illyana can teleport through space and time with her stepping discs, but she also carries the Soul Sword, a weapon created from her own soul. She has ruled Limbo, fought with mystical armor, and even trained young magic users later on. Magik is not just another X-Men teleporter. She is a survivor who turned trauma into terrifying power. Nico Minoru looks like the kind of character who would be into dark magic, but her story starts with an ugly discovery. She finds out her parents are not just strict or mysterious. They are part of the Pride, a secret group of villains using blood rituals behind closed doors. After that, Nico runs away with the other runaways, and her whole life becomes tied to the Staff of One, a magical weapon hidden inside her own body. The creepy part is that she has to bleed to summon it, so every spell feels like it costs her something. The Staff of One can create almost any effect, but it cannot safely repeat the same command twice, which forces Nico to think fast instead of spamming answers. Over time, she becomes more than the gothic girl with a magic staff. She becomes the heart of the Runaways and one of Marvel's most unpredictable young spellcasters. Dr. Voodoo, originally known as Brother Voodoo, did not begin as someone chasing supernatural power. Jericho Drum was a psychologist who studied in the United States and tried to keep distance from the mystical traditions of his family. But when his brother Daniel dies after dealing with dark forces in Haiti, Jericho returns home, trains under Papa Jumbo, and slowly becomes a different kind of magic user in Marvel. What makes him stand out is that his magic feels spiritual instead of flashy. He works with the lowest spirits, can call on Daniel's spirit, and often deals with possession, fear, death, and things that feel more personal than a simple energy blast. He even became Sorcerer Supreme after Doctor Strange, which proves he is not just a background mystic. Jericho is one of those characters who feels powerful because his magic has weight. Damon Hellstrom is one of those Marvel characters who sounds impossible to ignore once you hear the basic idea. He is the son of a Hell Lord, raised with a connection to demonic power, but instead of becoming the monster his father wanted, he turns against that world. His stories mix exorcism, hellfire, demonology, cursed bloodlines, and family horror, giving him a darker edge than most heroes who deal with magic. That edge is what makes him work so well for this kind of video. Damon is not just throwing spells around, he understands infernal rules, demonic bargains, and the kind of evil most heroes are not built to face. He has fought beside groups like the Defenders, crossed paths with Hellcat, and carried the title Son of Satan without feeling like a simple villain. He is basically Marvel's occult anti-hero in its rawest form. Kushala is not the Ghost Rider most people expect, and that is exactly what makes her so cool. She was an Apache woman from the 1800s who survived the slaughter of her tribe, and her rage called a spirit of vengeance into her life. At first, the power horrified her. She did not want to become a living weapon, so her early story is not about enjoying revenge. It is about trying to survive the demon burning inside her. What separates Kushala from other Ghost Riders is that she did not stop at Hellfire. With help from Auntie Jessa, a Tongva medicine woman, she learned the mystic arts and eventually became the Sorcerer Supreme of her era. She can command Hellfire, ride a flaming horse, use binding spells, earth magic, Nordic magic, chaos magic, and even travel through spiritual planes with an ability called Riding the Spirit. Shaman, also known as Michael Two Young Men, is a very different kind of Marvel magic user. Before joining Alpha Flight, he was a respected physician and surgeon who tried to leave his Sarsi mystical heritage behind. That makes his story interesting because he does not begin as a chosen warrior. He begins as a man of science, then has to accept that the spiritual world he rejected is real, old, and powerful. His most memorable tool is a mystical pouch connected to a strange dimension called the Void. From it, Michael can pull powders, charms, bones, medicine, and magical objects that help him heal, fight, or open paths into other realms. The danger is that this power is not harmless. If the pouch is opened the wrong way, the Void itself can become a cosmic threat, which makes Shaman feel calm, wise, and quietly terrifying. Enchantress in DC Comics is not just a woman who learned a few spells and became powerful. June Moon is tied to a supernatural entity that changes everything about her life. When she says the word Enchantress, she transforms, but that power always comes with fear. The entity inside her can be useful, terrifying, heroic, or completely out of control depending on who is holding the wheel that day. For real. That is why she works so well in magical stories. June is not only fighting enemies, she is fighting the possibility of disappearing inside her own power. She has been connected to the Suicide Squad, Shadow Pact, and Justice League Dark, which gives her plenty of different looks and situations. With magic, teleportation, illusions, shape-shifting, and supernatural knowledge, Enchantress always feels dangerous. Madame Xanadu feels different from most magic users in DC because her power is not built around explosions or big heroic poses. She is an ageless fortune teller whose story moves across centuries, from medieval kingdoms to modern New York. Her visions can change the course of human events, but that also makes her life feel heavy, because seeing the future does not always mean she can save everyone from it alone. That quiet mystery is what makes her so useful in a video like this. She has crossed paths with the Phantom Stranger, dealt with sorcery, fate, immortality, and even helped bring together Justice League Dark when magic-based threats became too strange for the regular heroes. With tarot cards, candles, old secrets, and a calm but haunting presence, she gives DC magic a very different flavor on screen. Ragman might sound like a strange name at first, but Rory Regan has one of the most underrated magical concepts in DC Comics. His power comes from the Suit of Souls, a living mystical costume connected to the souls of people seeking redemption. Instead of looking clean or heroic, the suit feels cursed, heavy, and almost alive. Like every piece of fabric is carrying someone's guilt, pain, or unfinished story. That idea gives Ragman more depth than people expect. He is not just a street-level hero with a spooky outfit. He is carrying a burden that connects faith, punishment, and salvation. The souls inside the suit can give him strength, but they also remind him of what he is responsible for. In stories like Ragman, Suit of Souls, Rory feels like a hero trapped between Gotham-style crime and full supernatural horror. Black Alice, also known as Lori Zeklin, has one of the scariest magical powers in DC because she does not need to be the greatest sorcerer in the room. She can steal the powers of magical beings and use them as her own, which makes her dangerous in a very unpredictable way. One moment she is just a goth teenager with a bad attitude, and the next she could be holding power that belongs to someone far beyond her level. That is why she feels so interesting compared to more famous magic users. Black Alice is powerful, but she is also young, angry, and emotionally messy, so her abilities never feel completely safe. DC even put her in a story tied to the Helmet of Fate, asking what would happen if a girl who can steal magic crossed paths with one of the biggest mystical symbols in the universe. That is a scary idea to build a story around. And that wraps up our look at some of the most underrated magic users in comics. Some are cursed, some are forgotten, and some deserve way more attention. Thanks for watching, leave a like, comment your favorite, and subscribe to Nerd Society for more comic book deep dives.